Quasher Show continues. Little Rock's premier talk station, 101.1 The Answer. One oh 101.1 The Answer. Doc Washburn Show continues. You can sound off and talk back at 501-401-1011. Barring some kind of miracle, it looks like we're going to be hitting the power plants in Iran tonight at 7 p.m. Central. An hour after I'm scheduled to get off the radio. So anyway, we got a caller, Mike in Hot Springs Village. Mike, you're on the Doc Washburn Show. Thanks for listening in. What's up, brother? Do we have Mike in Hot Springs Village?
Hey, yes, you sure do, Doc. How you doing today?
Hey, man, doing pretty good. What's on your mind?
Well, man, the whole thing you've been talking about has been outstanding, and I have to agree that the Iranians are making a very good point that America should part of the the deal should be that America says that they've lost the war. That would be a reasonable request by Iran to tell Trump that he has to announce that. Don't you think?
Well,
these people completely crazy?
They don't use that exact language, but the demands that they have would not be seriously considered by anyone unless the other party had lost the war. That's how I should have stated it, probably.
Well, no, that's good, but no, that's what it sounds like to me too, and the what I've heard on other stations and stuff, on Fox and on Newsmax, that they sound like Democrats, the Iranians. They really do. That we're losing the war, and therefore we should apologize to them and rebuild their nation. You know, have like a Marshall Plan for Iran and rebuild them.
Oh, reparations.
It's obvious that we're guilty of war crimes. So I think there should be a little bit of maybe a Nuremberg like tribunal with Trump and Hegseth, you know, getting tried for war crimes because Iran is such an innocent group. So,
well, I'll tell you what, now that you bring that up, in Australia, they are actually indicting a veteran who back in, I think, 2012 was involved in the war with Afghanistan and who did nothing wrong, and he's being indicted. So we don't think a lot about what would happen if the Democrats ever completely took control of this country again. Probably something similar.
Oh, if they take it back, we're sunk. It can't happen. And America's got to wake up. And listen, we've been waiting 47 years for us to attack Iran, crush Iran, destroy Iran, and get rid of the Islamic Republic.
Right.
You know, it's funny, Doc. The Democrats, who do they defend? They defend the Islamic Republic of Iran. They're rushing to their aid.
Yep.
Just like they rushed to the Viet Cong's aid, just like they rushed to the Soviet Union's aid. They've always taken the cause of the enemies of freedom, the enemies of individual freedom. They're always after, after the good guys.
Yep.
And supporting the bad guys. It's constant. It's been my whole lifetime, and going back even before that, obviously back to World War II. You know, they only got interested in the war, the Democrats, after Hitler attacked the Soviet Union. That's when they really got fired up to let's go to war and get those Nazis because they attacked the Soviet Union, not because they were a threat to us. And then they proved it because after the war, World War II, they gave half of Europe to the Soviet Union and then mainland China.
Yeah.
4 years later in 1949. So they're doing the same thing. I was over there in Iraq. I'm a veteran, as you know, Doc, and did 24 years. I was over there. I deployed several times to the region, but I was actually on the ground for a year. And I was there when they basically turned over Iraq to Iran.
Yep.
By writing that idiotic constitution they wrote for the Islamic Republic of Iraq, basically just turning over. You know, why fight a war against Saddam Hussein if you're going to give Iraq after the war to Iran?
Yeah, exactly.
It brings me back to what they did in World War II. And they do that all the time. We fight in Vietnam, and then we give South Vietnam to the Vietnamese, to the North Vietnamese.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick Leahy, for that one. As Rush used to call him, Leaky Leahy. Brother, we are up against a hard break, bottom of the hour news. We got to run. But Brother Mike from Hot Springs Village, it is always a delight.
Iran.
Yes, sir.
Iran.
Always a delight to hear from you. Appreciate your service, sir. God bless you. More coming up. 101.1 The Answer. 101.1, The Answer. Doc Washburn Show continues, where you can sound off and talk back at 501-401-1011. As I mentioned a little bit earlier on the show this afternoon, the libs have found us. Now, I hear from people on a regular basis like, hey, man, how come you left this other station? Well, I get fired because I wouldn't get the COVID vaccine. What? We've been looking around for you. I'm glad we found you. And that tends to be conservatives. And yet, the libs would call in every once in a blue moon in the other station because they either hate you or love you, or hate to love you or love to hate you, or, whatever. So the libs have found us because a whole lot of them responded angrily to a post I had on the Doc Washburn Show Facebook page last week, and they're very concerned that I'm an Islamophobe and a bigot and all this kind of stuff. So, because I'm concerned about the Islamization of Arkansas. Having said that, our friend, Professor Robert Steinbuck, wrote an op-ed, the Demgaz, last Friday, about a jihad-friendly Muslim professor up at University of Arkansas at Fayetteville. And so if you're thinking, well, golly, I'm thinking about U of A, Fayetteville, as calling the Hogs, Wool Pig Suey. And let me see. You got the Razorback football team, which disappoints us pretty much most years. You have the Razorbacks basketball team, which tends to be pretty good. Calipari's probably even better than Musselman. You have the Razorback baseball team, which a lot of people don't even know about, which is always really good. But wait a minute, what do you mean there's an Islamic professor up there that, well, anyway, Professor Steinbuck will be on with us out of the 5 o'clock news, and he will give us the lowdown about that and how that fits into the Islamization of Arkansas, which, by the way, I don't care what anybody says, I'm going to go on record right now that that's a bad thing, and we need to put a stop to it. Okay, well, got a lot more audio. In the meantime, Lieutenant Colonel Darren Gaub, Army retired, was on Fox earlier today talking about the rescue mission. We went behind enemy lines in Iran to get our guy over the weekend.
This mission was probably the most complicated thing we've ever put together and the most focused. And I was impressed by what happened, the number of assets, how complicated it is, and how it went. Sure, there were issues. We blew up some of our own equipment on the ground to keep the enemy from getting a hold of it. But in the end, the mission that matters is that we recovered our own and we brought them home. And it's great news that they're launch dual headed to the U.S. soon, because that means they're recovering very quickly. This is a message to every American who might want to join the military, who supports the military, and everybody who would seek to oppose us, that we will go to the ends of the earth to make sure that our people come back to our home, to our homeland. And also, by the way, we're still looking for those who are missing from Korea and Vietnam and otherwise. So we need to be thankful for all the good that is happening now.
Amen. Never leave them behind. Well, I mean, if you have an actual American in the Oval Office, now obviously Obama was, and Hillary for that matter, were all about leaving them behind in Benghazi. They were all about it. And of course, Dementia Joe Biden, he was all about getting a lot of our people killed in Afghanistan. Now, most folks, they might know about the 13 service members that were killed in when the suicide bomber, the Taliban suicide bomber, showed up at the gate to the big international airport in Kabul, Afghanistan. They might know it would not have happened if Biden, well, probably Obama through Biden, hadn't ordered us to evacuate the Bagram airfield about 30 miles up from there, which would have been secure and nobody would have gotten killed. But they probably don't know. They probably don't know that we left hundreds of Americans over there. And who knows what the Taliban did to them. But that's just fine with Barack Hussein Obama and Joseph Robinette Biden. And obviously, just about any Democrat office holder. They've made it clear. They're more concerned about the illegal aliens than they are American citizens. Couldn't care less. Couldn't care less about you and me. Now, why on earth they don't get questioned more about this? Well, let me just say this before we get to more audio. I think it's great. There's a PAC out there warning people about Hallie Schaffner. She's a Democrat nominee, going to run against Tom Cotton in November. And regardless of what you agree or disagree with Senator Cotton on, I guarantee you letting Democrats take over the U.S. Senate will be orders of magnitude worse than any concern you have with Tom Cotton. So I'm glad that there are PACs out there running commercials. Hey, who is Hallie Schaffner really? And telling you what a wild-eyed liberal radical she is. But in the meantime, well, you know how it is. You know, every time a Republican says something that might be construed as being embarrassing, every time a Republican might get involved in some kind of scandal, then the media always has their microphones in the face of other Republicans, demanding that they condemn and repudiate whatever it was that this other Republican said, sometimes halfway across the country, sometimes you haven't even heard of it. But nobody does that with the Democrats. Nobody plays guilt by association with the Democrats. I just need to get that off my chest. All right. Now, having said that, I don't know if you have heard what's up lately with Tucker Carlson, but his videos have been going viral. He is condemning Protestantism. He's saying that Protestantism is not Christianity. And he is also out there saying that real Christianity is unavoidably associated with socialism. And he is condemning President Trump for having the gall to mock Islam and saying that President Trump also really loves murdering people. Tucker Carlson is saying all of that. He's saying that President Trump is going to use nuclear weapons in Iran to kill 92 million people. But I'm old enough to remember when he got into his big argument with Ted Cruz last year, and he explicitly stated that the United States should use nuclear weapons on Iran if it could be proven that Iran was trying to assassinate President Trump. And they did try, by the way, because one of the men in one of the plots was convicted in federal court last month.